Just because something doesn't work in your life doesn't mean you're up under satanic attack. I'm going to say that again. Just because something doesn't work in your life doesn't mean you're up under satanic attack. It could be possible that you're trying to rest in where God used to be. Seeing yourself through the lens of who you were will stop you from seeing yourself through the lens of who God called you to be. And sometimes God has to stir the nest because the purpose of that person, place, or thing in your life has been completed. There's nothing more frustrating than trying to raise up something that God is trying to kill. Nothing more frustrating than trying to be somebody that God is trying to crucify. You have to have the liquidity of thought, and the nimbleness of mind to transition from how you once saw yourself into where God is calling you. If you saw yourself as a sedentary eaglet sitting in a nest, enjoying the comfort of your nest, it's hard to see yourself soaring. After all, soaring is more work, requires more muscles, requires more effort. You expend more energy. It's easier to lay back in your nest and say, feed me. Feed me, love me, acknowledge me, open doors for me, make a way for me, me. And all of a sudden, the food stops. When the food stops, it's a sign for you to move on. Mama's not dropping it in your mouth as good as it was. I rebuke the powers of the devil. I come against it. Can't you see the little eaglets praying? I come against Satan's power in the name of Jesus. I rebuke the powers and the principalities over this region. Mama should have been here by now. I come against the Satan. You delaying my blessing. You holding up my blessing. I rebuke the power. Where Mama? Mama should have been here. I rebuke the power. The principalities that holding it back. Prayed and prayed and prayed. What do you do when you pray and it doesn't work? When you rebuked it and it doesn't stop, you find yourself, I'm hungry. The food ain't coming. And here comes the problems, and the thorns are coming up. And I don't have the nourishment to rest in the place I used to be. I don't have the grace to do it. I always knew when something was over, I just didn't have the grace to do it. The grace. Grace will cover your eyes against what you're going through and make it easier to manage because you don't feel the weight of it when you have the grace to do it. Yeah, when you have the grace to work 2 or 3 jobs, when you have the grace to do it, it doesn't bother you like it would bother you because you got a grace to do it. You got a grace to put up with something that other people couldn't put up with. You got the grace to do it. But when that grace stops and all of a sudden you notice those thorns and thistles start coming up, now you got to move into another dimension. And Moses' thorns and thistles was the murdering of an Egyptian man, and his people knowing it and talking about it and rising up against him and not letting him forget what he did. People will attack you. They will always bring up what you did. You'll have to live with what you did all your life. That's why you ought to be careful what you do. That's good. That's a tweetable quote right there. Yeah, that right there. So somebody say that right there. They were bringing up what he did, and all of a sudden he had to get out of the nest, leave the palace and the marble floors and the gold columns and the big fans and the grapes being fed to him, wine being served to him, somebody to bathe him, somebody to teach him, somebody to train him, somebody to take care of him. All of that shut down. And he escapes into the desert, a dry place, a barren place. And while running from his past, he runs into his purpose.